You ever notice how the richest guy in the room is usually wearing the plainest shirt? No watch, no logo, nothing flashy. Meanwhile, the dude with the most debt is pulling up in a leased BMW, rocking the designer belt, picking up the tab for everyone. Here's what's wild. That rich guy, he's doing it on purpose. He's not broke, he's not humble. He's playing a completely different game. And once you understand why, you will start seeing every single purchase you make completely differently. What's good, everybody? My name's Ricky, and I spent way too much time thinking about why people who have money act like they don't. If you're tired of looking rich while feeling broke, stick around. This one's gonna shift something real for you. Okay, so let me paint a picture. You get a raise at work. Maybe it's not huge, but it's real, like 300 or 400 extra dollars a month coming in now. And what happens? Almost immediately, your brain starts doing math. You start thinking, okay, I can finally upgrade the car or move into that nicer apartment. Or, yeah, I deserve those shoes. I worked hard this month. And before that raise even hits your account twice, it's already spoken for. Sound familiar? Look, that is not a discipline problem. That is not a you problem. That is a deeply human pattern. Almost everyone falls into it. It even has a name: lifestyle inflation. And it is quietly one of the most dangerous things happening to working people right now. Here's what it looks like in real numbers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household brings in around $74,000 a year. But the personal savings rate has been sitting between 3 and 5% for years. That's consistent Federal Reserve data, year after year. 3 to 5%. That means out of every dollar people earn, they are keeping maybe 3 cents. 3 cents. And it's not because people aren't making money. It's because every single time income goes up, spending chases it like a shadow. You get a bigger paycheck, you get a bigger car payment. You get a bonus, you get a nicer vacation. You get promoted, you move into a more expensive apartment. The number changes, the feeling never does. And here's the thing nobody talks about. This pattern doesn't just affect people with low incomes. It affects doctors, lawyers, engineers, people making $150,000, $200,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck, not because they're irresponsible, but because nobody ever taught them the game that wealthy people are quietly playing. And that game has almost nothing to do with how much you earn. If that hit close to home, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because the reason this keeps happening to smart, hardworking people, that's exactly what we're getting into next. Okay, so here's where I need to challenge something. Most people believe that wealth looks a certain way. Nice car, big house, fresh clothes, expensive watch. We grew up seeing that. Movies, music videos, social media, all of it selling the same image. Rich equals visible. But here's what most people don't realize. That image was built to sell you something. Think about it. The luxury car commercial, the Instagram flex, the music video with the mansion. None of that exists to celebrate wealth. It exists to make you feel like you need to buy something to get there. And who benefits from that belief? The car companies, the fashion brands, the luxury apartment developers. They need you to connect spending with status, because that belief is worth billions to them. Now look at the actual data. Dr. Thomas Stanley spent decades studying millionaires across America. His research, published in the Millionaire Next Door, found something that genuinely surprises people. The majority of millionaires in this country do not live in fancy neighborhoods. They drive used cars. They shop at regular stores. They do not wear their wealth on their bodies. Thousands of high-net-worth individuals studied over many years. The pattern was consistent. The people who look rich are usually not, and the people who are rich usually don't. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Ricky, that's cool, but I don't want to look broke either. I have a reputation to maintain. And I hear that, genuinely. Look, I'm not saying dress poorly or drive a rust bucket. I'm saying stop letting your spending be controlled by other people's opinions. Because here's the reframe. What if looking normal was actually the flex? What if the real status symbol wasn't the watch on your wrist, but the number in your investment account that nobody can see?
The wealthy figured something out a long time ago. Appearances cost money, and money spent on appearances is money that cannot grow. Every dollar you spend signaling wealth to strangers is a dollar that will never compound, never work for you, never turn into $10 or $50 down the road. That's the shift from performing wealth to building it. Now that you understand why the wealthy think differently, let me show you what that actually looks like in numbers. Because this isn't just a mindset thing. There's real math behind it. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. That's about $5,000 a month after rough estimates. The average person in that income range spends roughly $4,600 to $4,800 of it. That leaves maybe $200 to $400, not enough to build anything real. Now, here's what the pretend poor strategy actually looks like in practice. You keep your expenses at the level they were before your last raise. That's it. That's the whole move. You don't downgrade your life. You just don't upgrade it every time your income ticks up. So when that raise comes in and now you're bringing home $5,400 a month, you keep living on $4,200. That's $1,200 a month going somewhere intentional. Over 1 year, that's $14,400. In a low-cost index fund averaging 8% annually over 20 years, that single decision turns into $700,000. From one decision, not spending the raise. Here's the thing most financial advice misses. It's not about being cheap, it's not about suffering, it's about the gap. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is your wealth-building engine. Wealthy people protect that gap obsessively. They drive the older car not because they can't afford a new one. They drive it because they understand what that car payment actually costs them long-term. And once you start thinking like that, a $600 car payment stops looking like a car payment. It starts looking like $85,000 in 15 years.
Now, let's go a little deeper, because there's a psychological side to this that's just as important as the math. Here's the thing. We spend money for reasons that have nothing to do with the thing we're buying. The $70,000 car on a $55,000 salary, that's not a transportation decision, that's an emotional one. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's respect, maybe it's proof to themselves that they made it. And I'm not judging that. Those feelings are real. But here's the problem. That feeling lasts about 3 weeks. There's a concept in psychology called hedonic adaptation. Basically, it means humans return to a baseline level of happiness pretty quickly after any purchase. The new car smell fades, the excitement disappears, and now you're just stuck with the payment. Meanwhile, the wealthy person driving the 4-year-old paid-off sedan isn't chasing that feeling from stuff. Their confidence comes from their balance sheet. Their security comes from their savings rate, not their car. That is a fundamentally different relationship with money, and it's something you can actually build. It starts with asking one honest question before any major purchase. Am I buying this for me, or am I buying this for other people's perception of me? That question alone will save you thousands, because most of the time, if you're really honest, it's for the perception. And here's what's wild. Most of the people you're trying to impress aren't even paying attention. They're too busy worrying about their own image. So you're going broke trying to impress people who don't even notice. All right, let me give you some real scenarios here. Let's talk about Marcus. Marcus is 28, makes $72,000 a year, works in tech support. Not a flashy job, but solid income. Marcus drives a used Honda, lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in an okay part of town, shops at regular stores, doesn't post his lifestyle online. His coworkers low-key feel bad for him. They think he's struggling. But here's what they don't know. Marcus has been investing $1,500 a month since he was 24. By 28, he already has over $90,000 in index funds. No car payment, no credit card debt, low rent, high savings rate. He looks regular, but he's building something real. Now, let's talk about Devon. Devon also makes $72,000 a year. Same company, same role. But Devon drives an Audi lease, lives in a luxury apartment downtown,
eats out 4 or 5 times a week, latest phone, fresh sneakers, nice watch. Devon looks successful. People at work actually look up to Devon. But Devon has about $800 in savings, one unexpected expense away from real stress. No investments, no plan, just a lifestyle that looks great on the outside. Now, honestly, I get Devon, because nobody taught Devon any different. The world told Devon that the Audi meant success. Devon was just listening. And that's the painful part. Because at 45, Devon has options Devon simply doesn't have. Marcus can retire early, change careers, take a year off, help his family, buy property. Devon at 45 is going to need to keep working, not because Devon didn't earn enough, but because lifestyle consumed everything Devon earned. And this isn't rare. This is extremely common. Engineers making $130,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. Teachers making $45,000 quietly building real wealth. The income is not the deciding factor. The gap is. Now, here's a real example that always stops people cold. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people alive, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. Drives himself to McDonald's for breakfast, has breakfast there almost every morning, pays under $4. This man is worth over $100 billion, and he's eating a sausage McMuffin every morning. Is that because he can't afford better? Obviously not. It's because he understands something deeply. Money spent is future wealth surrendered. And when you truly internalize that, your relationship with spending transforms completely. You stop seeing a $500 purchase as $500. You start seeing it as $3,000 in 10 years, or $8,000 in 20. That shift in thinking, that's the whole game. Okay, I need to stop here for a second, because there's something most people completely miss about this topic, and it's a little uncomfortable. The reason most people stay broke isn't the economy. It's not inflation. It's not that they don't work hard enough. It's that they are making financial decisions based on a social performance. From the time you were a kid, you were absorbing signals about what doing well looks like. Nice house, new car, branded clothes, eating at good restaurants. And those signals came from everywhere. Ads, TV shows, your neighborhood, family gatherings. So now, as an adult, your brain has been conditioned to equate spending with success. When you spend freely, your brain says, "I'm doing well." When you hold back, it feels like lack, like you're falling behind, even when the opposite is actually true. Here's what most people don't realize. The feeling of being wealthy and the reality of being wealthy are completely different experiences, and our culture has trained us to chase the feeling, not the reality. This is where it gets really interesting. Researchers who study happiness and money have found something consistent across decades of data. Financial security, knowing you actually have a cushion, produces longer-lasting well-being than almost any single purchase. In other words, knowing you have $50,000 in savings makes you happier for longer than buying any single thing you could spend that $50,000 on. But nobody markets that feeling to you. Nobody's running ads for index funds that make you feel cool. And that's the gap most people never close. The rich pretend to be poor because they already made the mental switch. They don't need their car to tell the world they're successful. Their quiet confidence comes from somewhere else, from knowing exactly where they stand financially. And that is what we're building toward. Here's what actually separates people who build wealth from people who don't. It's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's time horizon. Wealthy people think in decades. Most people think in months. And here's how you actually start training that muscle. Every time you're about to make a significant purchase, run it through what I call the decade test. One simple question. Will this decision matter in 10 years? The car upgrade? Probably not. The investment habit you start this month? Absolutely. The designer shoes? Probably not. The emergency fund that keeps you from going into debt? Without question.
That filter alone starts rewiring how your brain relates to money. And here's what I need you to understand. This isn't about depriving yourself. You decide what genuinely brings you joy. You spend there without guilt, no apologies. But everything else, you let go without feeling like you're missing out, because you know what you're actually building toward. Most people are reacting to their financial life. The wealthy are designing it. The only difference between those two people is the decision you make today. All right, let's bring this home. Here's what we covered today. Number 1, lifestyle inflation is the silent wealth killer. Every time income rises and spending matches it, the gap disappears. And the gap is everything. Number 2, the image of wealth is not wealth. It's marketing, designed to make you spend money proving something to people who aren't watching. Number 3, the math is simple. Keep expenses stable, let income grow, invest the difference. Time does the heavy lifting. Number 4, before every major purchase, run it through the decade test. Will this decision matter in 10 years? That one question changes everything. Marcus beats Devon every single time. Not because Marcus earns more, because Marcus understood the game earlier. And now, so do you. Look, I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying your life. Buy the thing that genuinely makes you happy. Travel, eat good food, treat yourself. But do it on purpose, not to perform for strangers, not to feel like you've made it for 3 weeks. Do it because it actually adds to your life. And everything else, let it go. Start protecting your gap. Even if it's small right now, even if it's just $200 a month, start there. Because 20 years from now, you will either be glad you did or you'll wish you had. Drop a comment below and tell me honestly, are you more of a Marcus or a Devon right now? No judgment, just be real. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.